Hi, everybody. This is Lisa Haven, and I've got some crazy news for you. And I found this at RT.com or Reuters. Former CIA director, we kill people based on metadata. On metadata, that's data that they collect based on your phone calls, how long you talked, who you're talking to, what you're doing, how often do you do it. They can tell all of this from a simple phone call. And here, the CIA director is openly admitting that the government has killed people based on this data that they're collecting. I just want to scream. Now, I'm going to play the clip for you. It's about an hour and some odd, but stay with me. I'm not playing the hour. I'm playing the 4-minute clip that he says that at. So, and this is director Michael Hayden, who made the comments during a debate at Johns Hopkins University after Georgetown University Law Center professor David Cole detailed the kind of information the government can obtain simply by collecting metadata. All right, so I'm going to play the clip.
This falls out, makes this much less of a security and much less of a privacy and constitutional issue than those, from your perspective, would represent. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, this is the constant mantra.
I'm just distilling it. I believe I've done so faithfully. I'm not describing myself.
So it's a great.
I hear every day.
So it's a great question, right? You saw it in President Obama. We're not listening to your phone calls. We're not listening to the content. We're just collecting the metadata, which means who you called, when you called them, how often you called them, how long you talked for. That's all we're collecting, just the metadata. So you shouldn't need to worry about it. Well, you know, I take my cue from a former general counsel of the NSA, Stuart Baker, who said on this question, metadata absolutely tells you everything about somebody's life. If you have enough metadata, you don't really need content. It's sort of embarrassing how predictable we are as human beings. And that's the thing is, you know, with metadata, they can know when you called your girlfriend, when you called your ex-girlfriend, when you called your parents, when you called your children, when you called Alcoholics Anonymous, when you called a drug rehab center, when you called your drug dealer, when you called your political party. They know all of that. They can connect up. Who are your closest friends? Who are you most closely associated with? Who do you talk to all the time? Who do you talk to only sometimes? That's a tremendous amount of information that they can get. And we got it from General Counsel of the NSA himself. We don't even need content if we can get metadata. And let me just add, the program that we've all been talking about is a phone metadata program. But the law under which the NSA gathered this is not a law that limits to phone company and phone data. It's a law that allows the government to get any business records on anybody, and in their interpretation, literally anybody and everybody. And so they could get email records, who you've emailed, who's emailing you, what websites you're searching, what searches you put into Google. All of that goes to businesses, which then have those records, and under the NSA's theory of how American law should run, they can get any and all of that information, because it might happen that at some point, some of it might be useful to try to find a terrorist. To me, that's dragnet surveillance at its worst, and the distinction between content and metadata really is erased.
And this is all done under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court is the secret court that weighs, as I said, in secret, the legal justification for putting together a search of metadata linked to a person or persons, and then gives it an okay or not okay, and it is on a time limit. General Hayden, you can find out all these things David just said about me, about David, about anyone in this audience. That is a function of operational capability. I'd like you to talk about whether you're comfortable with that operational capability. If so, why? And how often is it used in the ways that David described?
Yeah, first of all, David's description of what you can do with metadata, and quoting a mutual friend, Stuart Baker, is absolutely correct. Okay, we kill people based on metadata. But that's not what we do with this metadata.
Okay, right.
Thankfully.
Right, just like the
Wow, I was
government
working up a
often.
sweat there for a second.
It's really important to understand the program in its entirety, not the potentiality of the program, but how the program is actually conducted. So NSA gets phone records, gets them from the telephone company. We've been getting them since October of 2001 under one authority or another. Puts them in a lockbox, to use a phrase that was popularized a few years ago, and under very strict limitations
Right.
can access the lockbox. What it cannot do are all those things that David suggested that allows someone to create your social network, your social interactions, your patterns of behavior.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. He's getting on my nerves. You know, when on earth has the government not invaded that privacy or gone past the limit? You tell me that. There's not a chance. They've used it to kill people, and they have used it to kill people in the past. There is absolutely nothing stopping them from going beyond what he is claiming, okay, and saying, we're going to only use it in case of an emergency. BS. BS. You know it, and I know it. And they've done it many, many, many times in the past. Our government is not some trustworthy, they ain't our friend. And here's the thing, they've drawn up lists. That's why they have a target list with thousands to, I've even heard millions of names on it that the government sees as threats. That's exactly why the IRS has targeted the Tea Party, and exactly why this latest news report, which I'm going to show you in just a second, where military personnel are told, hey, if you're part of an evangelical church, or hey, if you are part of the Tea Party, that's considered, almost treason, if you will. Let me show you the clip. Here's the clip from Fox News. Does Army consider Christians' Tea Party a terror threat? Of course they do, and this is old news, but I'm bringing it back up because you need to know about it, especially with this new information. Soldiers attending a pre-deployment briefing at Fort Hood said they were told that evangelical Christians and members of the Tea Party were a threat to the nation, and that any soldier donating to the groups are subject to punishment. What kind of punishment? Court-martial, God only knows. But hey, it is going on. It is happening. And they are collecting data on us. And who are they targeting? Christians. They're targeting Tea Party patriots. And they're telling us, people like Michael Hayden, that, hey, we're only collecting the data and putting it in a black box in case you act up or do stupid stuff. Well, you know what? That's why they have a list called Main Core, right? They're doing more than putting it in a black box. There's a little list called Main Core. What is Main Core? Well, here is the Wikipedia definition, as much as I love Wikipedia. Main Core is the code name of a database maintained since the 1980s by the federal government of the U.S. It contains personal and financial data of millions of citizens believed to be threats to national security. You think? I don't know. So just who do they target with Main Core? Well, if you're a conservative, libertarian, you stock food or ammo, a Christian, a gun owner, a homeschooler, a veteran, you're pro-life, or a patriot, then you, by all means, are a terrorist. Now, there's this really cool list of 72 types of American that was put together by Michael Schneider, and I'll leave a link to this post. This is the name. I actually did it a while back. I'll leave a link at the bottom. You can check it. But anyhow, here's the list of those that they consider, you can kind of go through this on your own. Members of the Family Research Council, if you're against gay and lesbians, if you're concerned about FEMA camps, hey, that's everybody that's listening to this video pretty much. If you're a militia, part of a militia, or if you're just a right-wing person, if you visit blogs and websites like this one, then you're a terrorist and subject to being killed per the metadata collection. Now, I'm not saying they're going to start killing us because that's not the case. But what I am saying is, why are they listing Christians? And here's the actual document. Let me go up to the top because I'm on page 6. That shows, hey, this is the, you can find this at fas.org. I'll leave a link, but this is the document or assessment released by the government by Janet Napolitano a while back that displayed all those things that I just mentioned to you as potential terrorists. And who does that include according to their own information? Let's scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to just kind of go through it fast. Those who have combat skills or returning veterans who know how to fight. So if you're a veteran and you fought for good old US of A, well, if you're not fighting for them anymore, you're a terrorist. Let's move on. Here's another appalling section. If you are part of the militia, if you oppose gun control, well, I'm pro-gun, I guess that's me. If you criticize free trade, if you, obviously white supremacist, but I'm not that. If you believe abortion is wrong, then you're a terrorist. Or if you're against same-sex marriage, if you do not agree with these things, which most religious communities do not, then you are a right-wing terrorist. Here's another crazy one. If you believe in conspiracy theories involving martial law, impending civil strife, or racial conflict, suspension of the U.S. Constitution, it's not like they don't talk about that crap every day. And here they are making us as terrorists, excuse me, just because we believe in the Constitution and that they're getting rid of it because they are. Or if you're anti-government theories and you believe in end-time prophecies, by golly, again, that's me. I do believe in the Bible and I do believe in end-time prophecies. Most denominations do. If you stockpile food, ammunition, and weapons, then you are a terrorist. Or if you have a Christian ideology, by golly, we're all in trouble. But don't worry. Like Michael said, they put that information in a black little box in case they need it. Bull crap. Baloney. They have been known to kill people, per his own words, with metadata. Known to kill people because of metadata. Will it progress in the future? God only knows. If it isn't supposed to progress, then why are they putting all this information out targeting right-wing extremists? I mean, it's similar to the Hitler-Nazi regime, if you will. It doesn't make any sense in that manner. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're not doing that right now. Praise the Lord. Will they do it? God only knows. Again, I'm not saying this will happen. I'm not saying that the government's going to come shooting people down with drones and stuff like that. I just want to share the information that I'm getting with you. Please understand that. They are not targeting us at this moment, but they are collecting data on us, which is kind of where, I don't want to end up like Nazi Germany Jews ended up, where many of the Jews gave their government the benefit of the doubt and said, you know what, they're not gonna. And if you read, some of the diary of Anne Frank and the like, and some of the other things, they didn't believe their government could create such a heinous act. And it was almost this doubt thing, kind of like what happened on the Titanic. Well, but I don't want to get into that yet. But anyway, it's just that this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. And Jews got eventually rounded up, and some went willingly in the beginning, unknowing that that would be their last breath. Okay, and I don't want to be like that here in America. Do I think that we're headed in that direction? Not yet. Not yet. Could we in the future? Possible. When Bible prophecy and the end times come, yeah, definitely. But I don't know when that's going to happen. There's going to be a peace treaty and then all hell's going to break loose. But how much of that will we go through? Nobody really knows the set answer to that. And I'm just saying this because to be prepared. And it could happen outside of biblical prophecy. Like biblical prophecy could happen later. I don't think that. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner. However, I just want you to be aware of the details. Do we need to leave America? Hell no. We just stay here for now and keep an eye on things. And I just say this to make you aware of what's going on, not to freak you out, not to scare you, because that's not my point, but you need to be aware of what's going on. And is the government going to do this? Not right now, I doubt. Could it potentially in the future? Possibly. Anyway, with that said, God bless you guys, and I hope you have a great day. This is Lisa Haven signing off.